Hi guys, so today I'd like to show you how I fixed this Line Solar PLS01 Mini, which is an electric fence energizer. So for people that don't know what an electric fence energizer is, it's a battery where you can get various different ones. You can get battery ones, mains ones, or solar powered ones, or this one's a combination of battery and solar powered. It has two terminals, one on each side. One fits on a ground spike that goes in the ground, and the other one attaches to the fence, and it outputs high voltages onto the fence to keep your cattle in the field. So this one's got a socket on the back to charge it with and a switch. It also has two cables that attach to the terminals, one for the fence and one for the ground spike. So this one is actually my sister's. It's about 4 years old, and it only worked for about a year before it failed, and then she asked me to have a look at it. So there were actually two problems with this unit. One was the battery, and I'll show you a close-up now. So you can see with the battery there's some corrosion going on, and I'll show you the battery voltages, but I think the main problem was this protection board, which has got worse corrosion on it, and I think it's actually caused the batteries to become the wrong cell voltages. It's actually quite a good quality battery, made of Panasonic NCR 18650B cells. That's if they're legitimate cells, which are good quality. But if I show you the cell voltages, I'll bring in the multimeter. So the top cells have gone up to 4.46 volts, and then the bottom cells are 3.23 volts. So the top cells have actually been overcharged, I think, because for lithium-ion batteries they shouldn't go above 4.2 volts. This is the original battery. So it's a 2S2P. So ESYB is the manufacturer, a BP-2S2P. Normal lithium-ion cell voltages. So that's 3.7 volts each. And 2S2P is two series, two parallel. And then it says the capacity is 6.8 amp hours, which aligns with these cell capacities. So as I mentioned, there were two problems with this, and I'll take it apart to show you what the problems were. The battery, the screws have already been taken out of this. So you've got the solar panel front. You've got another cover on there with a rubber seal around it, and you've got the so you've got the battery at the bottom, and then you've got the main circuit board. I'll zoom in on the battery and show you what I did with that. So this battery isn't a lithium ion battery. I decided to go for a lithium iron phosphate battery, which has a slightly different cell voltage. So I also had to change the charger. And there's the it's actually from the same company as the original charger, I think, from a company called FMA. I'll put links in the description for all the components and the vendors for the items. But as you can see, that charges at 7.3 volts and an amp. Because lithium iron phosphate batteries are a different cell voltage. So I got the cells and the charger from the same seller on AliExpress. and these had tabs on, but I got the battery BMS board and battery protection board from eBay, and this one actually has the balance feature, so while the battery's charging, it will make sure the cells are all at the same voltage. If you do decide to make your own battery, the reason I made my own was because I found it difficult to find a ready-made battery. But if you do decide to make your own, just be very careful, because lithium batteries are quite high energy density. So, I mean, I would treat them as if they were as if it was kind of petrol, because if you do end up shorting one out, or something goes wrong while you're soldering it, it can make a real mess, burst into flames and explode, etc. I mean, you've got to be unlucky, but it can happen. So have your exits clear, and maybe have a metal box or something to put it in should something go wrong. And we'll have a look at the board as well, so you can see I've labelled the different connectors, because they all use the same connector, so it's easy to get them mixed up. Got switch, battery, power, and the solar panel. Also, I should mention, if you're going to take it apart, make sure it's switched off, and just be very careful, because this end of the circuit board is the high voltage end. You could get a nasty shock off it if it's switched on. But the switch should turn it off. So at the moment it's off. Once I replaced the battery, I ran it overnight to make sure everything was okay. But by the morning it wasn't working, so I originally thought the battery had run out. But what had actually happened was the battery was fine, and the transistor here, Q2, had become discoloured. There's a conformal coating on the board, and it had made it turn brown. If you are doing this job, if you need to remove the conformal coating, you can just heat it up with a soldering iron and then rub it off with alcohol to get rid of it, just on the bits you need to solder. So I removed the transistor, I removed Q2 and tested it, and it seemed to be okay. And at that point, I decided to contact the manufacturer to see if they'd be useful. And the guy there, Sean, was actually very useful. The manufacturer is Andmon Electronics, which is andmon.com, if you look at their website. And he basically said that it's an old unit and it's got some known faults with two of the transistors. The main fault, the common fault, is with Q2. And the other fault, you may have problems with Q1 as well, which is that transistor there. But what he suggested was, because U5 and Q2 are the same transistor, you can just swap U5 to Q2 just to make sure that is the problem. So that's what I've done here, and that did solve the problem. You don't actually need U5 because it's part of the solar charging circuit, which obviously we're not using here. But what I intend to do is put a larger transistor, a bigger package, basically with the same parameters, just a bigger package, so hopefully it won't blow as quickly as this one did. So this transistor is an FQT7N10L, and the one I intend to replace it with is an IRLU120NPBF. You can buy these transistors from Farnell, but well, I don't want to make a purchase just for those transistors, so I've ordered those other transistors from CPC along with another order I've done. I should mention as well, if you are going to take yours apart, just a safety warning. The left-hand side is the high voltage side, and if you see the terminals there, you could easily get an electric shock if you turned it on from those. Just make sure that you're very careful with when you take it apart. So the only things left to do for this is I'm going to apply some nail varnish as a conformal coating for the protection board on the battery to try and stop the corrosion from happening like it did on the old one. And then I'll put some heat shrink on the battery as well to make it even more waterproof and to seal it up. So that's it. I'll put links in the description for all the items I've purchased, and if you need any help, drop a comment below, and don't forget to give it a like, and hopefully see you soon. Thanks then.